So after the Cup on Wednesday, back to league action, Aston Villa on Saturday at Villa Park. We beat them 1-0 back in November. I think that was the game that saw Dean Smith lose his job. What have you made of them under Steven Gerrard, Steve? What sort of a team can we expect?
Well, they had a fast start under him, and everyone was proclaiming Gerrard as the second coming of Christ. As I mean, it's not like Villa fans to go massively overboard with their own sense of self-worth, is it?
Oh God, let's not upset them this week.
Well, gets us the clicks, doesn't it? No, I mean he clearly had a positive impact at the start. Coutinho was a signing that they would have had absolutely zero chance of making without him being the manager. And initially, it looked like that was great signing, and they were going to they were the ones that were likely to be sort of challenging Wolves and Spurs for sort of seventh place. But it's all kind of gone off the rails a little bit the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, since Boxing Day.
Yeah, possibly. I mean they've
won twice.
But they've been middly. Sounded like they were fairly comfortable winners at Brighton yesterday, but Brighton are kind of on that sort of downward trajectory at the moment, so difficult to read a huge amount into that. But they're like Villa's recent results have been fairly poor, to be honest. Performances hadn't been great. I mean, everything I've seen is that basically I think Gerrard again tried Ings and Watkins up front alongside each other again yesterday. Watkins scored, Ings didn't, so he's still stuck on 3 goals for the season.
2, is it? I think.
But it's that partnership isn't really working because they are basically the same player. Only Watkins is about 5 years younger. So there's something not quite right in that team system at the moment. I mean, obviously Ings is going to go and bang in a hat trick on Saturday now. I've said that. But
we said that last time though, didn't we? And he didn't even play. So
well, yeah. I mean, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't even make the journey down, did he? But he's obviously had a fair bit of criticism this season, rightly or wrongly. I don't know. I mean, I've not seen many of Villa's games. But for whatever reason, it's not quite working for him. And we've moved on. So yeah, I mean, and beware the curse of the X as ever. But other than that, I kind of look at Villa and think, well, they're all right, but they're not as good as people seem to have been making them out. Like there's like the last couple of years has always been like, oh, Villa have won the transfer window. And then they end up in 12th. It's like, yeah, that was a great victory in that mythical challenge and trophy that they won.
Ben, what have been your thoughts of Villa at the moment? What sort of game do you think that's going to be on Saturday?
I think it'll be a tough game. But then I was looking at our record. I like to do my research, obviously. I saw we'd won 7 of our last 9 against them, I think, in the last 3 visits to Villa Park. So it's been a bit of a happy hunting ground for us. I think, you look at the sort of spine of their team, I think they are pretty solid. I like John McGinn. He's, the sort of player that gives 100%. Martinez in goals obviously got the presence of a cabbage. No, I'm joking. He's a pretty good keeper, actually. I think he's pretty solid. And then, yeah, you look at sort of Watkins, Ings, whoever might play out of those. Obviously, Danny's going to want to score against us and prove a point, I'm sure. But they're a good side. I think the only thing I'd say with Villa is you never quite know what to expect with them, which I'm sure you could probably say that about lots of Premier League sides. So I think if Saints go up there and play like they can, I think Villa will come onto them, and we're pretty good when we want to be on the counter and things like that. So I think we've got a good chance.
Does it depend how Wednesday goes, Dan? I know we were sort of joking about extra time and penalties, but we saw that in the previous round where they played the extra half an hour and we were worried that might then impact on the league game. Or is this where we see a real test of the squad depth and the intensity?
Possibly, maybe. I think it'll be interesting to see what Rav does in that sense. If it is going to extra time on Wednesday, Rav's the kind of guy, he wants to win every game he's in. So I wouldn't expect to see like 3 or 4 key players walk off the pitch, in like the 80th minute, unless Southampton have either won the game or clearly lost the game. So it might be a test, but I think Southampton will be up for it anyway, I think, because of the kind of Danny Ings factor. But I think even if Danny plays and scores, I don't think he's proved a point. I think Southampton have proved a point in selling him, to be honest, in terms of getting £30 million for a player, which I didn't think was a good idea at the time, because I never think it's a good idea to sell your best player, but you can't knock that decision now. I think Elyounoussi scored more goals than him this season. Brozier, Prowse, Bednarek's probably got there, at least very close to Danny in terms of goals scored. And Adams, I think Adams will be up for it. I think Adams has really stepped up in Danny's absence. So I actually can't wait for the Villa game. Probably because it's my last game before I've got some time off. But Villa Park's a great place to go. Really good atmosphere. Don't buy into the whole Steven Gerrard thing, like Steve, to be honest. I'd be quite worried if I was him, because this clearly is his audition for the Liverpool job. I mean, if this goes terrible, he won't get that job. And I was just looking at the teams they've lost to. So they beat Norwich mid-December, and they've won 2 games since then, and that was against Everton and Brighton. They've lost to Brentford. They drew with Leeds, lost to Newcastle, lost to Watford. I mean, there's nothing for Saints to kind of be too worried about, I don't think.
So let's stick with you then, Dan. Your score prediction for Villa Park?
Let's go 2-1 again, Southampton.
2-1 with Danny Ings scoring for Villa.
Danny Ings to stay on the bench.
Looking at his bank account. Steve?
Why not 4 in a row? 2-0.
2-0. We're all just going to stick with 2-0
Loves a
forevermore.
2-0.
And Ben, how do you see this one working out?
I think there'll be goals. I'm going to go for 2 or draw, and Dan Ings isn't going to score.
2 and no Danny Ings. I'm making a note of this. So, right. Thanks very much. A lot of 2-0s as well, as you can imagine in the predictions.